We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Next order of business is public comment. As always, we will offer public comment in-house first. It does not look like we have anybody in attendance with us this evening, so we will move right on to public comment virtually. Do we have anybody? Kevin?
No one's raising their hands.
Okay, so just remember, if there's somebody online, I'll just give you another second. Raise your hand if you're interested in providing public comments. Devin will unmute you, and then we can move forward with hearing your comment. So I'll give you just another second.
I think we're good.
Good, okay, excellent, thank you. Next order of business is minutes. So can I get a motion to approve the attached October 6, 2021 minutes? Sorry. He's on it tonight. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, unanimously approved. All right, next order of business is correspondence received 10/5/2021 to 11/1/2021. Trying to remember, I reviewed my packet earlier. I don't remember seeing any correspondence. Yeah, so we should be all set. Yeah, and it says it right on the agenda. It's helpful too. It says none. So nothing received, but I always take the opportunity at this moment to remind our community members that we do have a correspondence form on our website. So please take the opportunity, if you cannot be with us either in the meeting in person or virtually, please use that form, the contact form on the website. It's right off the homepage to provide any questions or thoughts, comments, anything that you'd like to share with the building committee. Please use that form to do so, and that will obviously be captured. You will see a response from us, but will also be shared with the entire committee via correspondence in the agenda for our meeting. So always want to make sure we remind our community members that you can reach us at any time if you have any questions or thoughts. Okay, we will move right on to reports. First order of business is chair report. I am not going to provide any additional detail. I think we got enough on our agenda tonight to cover, and multiple reports out from our professional partners and liaisons, so nothing specific from me. So we will move right on to item number 2. That's the town council liaison report.
No report.
All right, so nothing specific there.
No, nothing. I mean, I can bore you with the details of the comings and goings of the council, but relative to the building committee, no report.
Okay, perfect. Excellent, thank you. Item number 3, Board of Education liaison report. Nothing. Okay, and so we'll move right on to number 4, owner's rep report. So Mark.
Sure. So just a quick update. We've had a few meetings since we last met with the state of Connecticut. We had our formal schematic design review meeting where that was held via Zoom. Went through our current schematic design, gave our plan reviewer Summer an opportunity to see all of the design elements and where we were headed. And shortly thereafter, a few weeks later, we had an on-site campus tour, gave the plan reviewer an opportunity to meet the team here, meet with ONG, the designers, and face-to-face toured the campus, gave them an idea of where the building's going to go, how the layout, all of the, we talked a little bit about a logistics plan, gave an opportunity to meet with school and town staff. And so that went well. Some of the things that we've been working diligently on are the commissioning agent RFP. So we need to go out for a commissioning agent. You'll hear a little bit more from the report by the professional partners subcommittee, as well as a onboarding ONG with their construction manager contract. So we're going through the details of both of those. We know that there's been some changes in OSCGR, and so we believe that those changes won't affect our project in any way. CSG is meeting with the folks at DAS, which is where the interim coverage will be for that, and just to bring them up to speed with all of the current projects that we're working on. Of course, Farmington at the top of our list. That's it for an overview report.
Is there any, I just want to make sure everybody's aware of the changes at the state level that Mark referred to. Okay. So just in case there's any questions on specifics. So yeah, it's something we'll work through the process. Let's continue having conversations. We just wanted to make sure we open that up for any questions. All right, anything else for Mark? No?
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to the architect report. Looks like it's you, Michael.
It is I. Sure. So the design team has been progressing diligently with the working group, whose meetings are on Wednesdays, syncopated with the building committee. We've also gone at least one, if not two rounds with a great deal of the school departments and some of the town's professional staff. So we're progressing along those lines. We're working right now, reviewing the edge spec and the square foot requirements that came out of those departmental meetings. There's been a request from the school to investigate all gender spaces. This would apply to locker room and water closet facilities. So that's initiated a bit of a study that we're advancing through the working group. At a larger scale, we're reviewing on-site traffic and circulation. I think everyone's aware that this year in particular has been challenging on site with the traffic demands. So we're looking on how to be proactive on that. And another thing to keep an eye on, we met with PNC numerous times pre-referendum, and they have asked now, the planning staff has asked that we formally apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a building height variance, because we are a 3-story building, and even though this is a very large site, it is fundamentally zoned residential. So that's something that we'll be pulling together this month, looking to hit the ZBA hearing in December. So you may be approached by people asking about that. That's all part of the process. We're actually shorter than the 1928 building by your zoning definitions. So we believe that we can make a convincing case.
Any questions for Michael on the update?
I think I just add too that we've been, we had a meeting with the security team and police and fire department. So I got municipal town folks involved in some of those initial conversations. We've got 2 more meetings to go to get to our finalized plans and making sure we've got a building that works for everybody.
Any questions? I just want to make sure everybody online's okay as well. Any questions from anybody there?
We're good.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. All right, so we'll move on right on to number 6, which is the construction manager report.
Okay, I'll be reporting Laurel Costello again with RNG. As was mentioned, attending any meetings that we're, privy to. I know Mark is on site for the state meetings, design, working group meetings. We're also almost done with our cost estimate, that schematic design estimate that we were asked to do the minute we got hired. We're pretty much done with that. We'll be done with that basically tomorrow. So we'll be sharing that with Subcommittee and CSG. We'll be sharing that with them first and figuring out when we're going to reconcile. Hopefully it'll be later this week, early next week to get done with that, and then we'll present it how we're going to the working group for their review and input. So that's underway. I did prepare a pre-construction schedule, and I just got it done literally today. So I passed that on to Subcommittee again for their review and input, and that's also something that I would like to get in front of the design or the working group meeting possibly next week, If we can't come to terms because we're reconciling everything else, it'll be the following meeting, which is 2 weeks later. But either way, by the December meeting, we should be ready to come to you with a complete schedule. And that brings me into the next item that I'm gonna report on, which is when you do see the schedule, this was mentioned during our interview, that we're looking for some sort of an early site enabling phase. And the reason for that is because when the design is done, we basically want to miss out on summer. We really don't want to miss out on summer 2022 work. The opportunity to get the site kind of secured, so that when school starts, whatever the revised traffic pattern will be is already set up. Even though there won't be any construction underway, true construction, because we'll just be still bidding the project, the overall project. But we would like to do some work next summer so that we can kind of secure and get everything established, get a temporary parking lot done, so that when school starts and then we just show up, our vehicles roll in and it's minimal disruption to the school. So when we do present our schematic design estimate, you're gonna see the value of this work broken out so that you can see what you would be proceeding with. Because technically you'd be proceeding at risk because we're still bidding the rest of the job and we'll want to award this work early. So it's something that you're gonna have to be comfortable with. So that's what we're in the throes of doing as well. That's about it.
And just so you know, there are implications obviously with the state. That conversation has been had at the state level as well of if that work is pulled up a little early, what does that mean? Are they okay with that process? I know Pat has had some conversations as well on the town side to make sure from a financing perspective we've got everything settled. So it's a great plan that has things that we need to make sure that we've got everything lined up and everybody understands why we're doing it and what the impact could be. So I just want to make sure everybody here is comfortable with understanding why we're doing that, and we're going to get more details on exactly what's included, but something to keep in mind. It's,
So we'll be preparing that, and when you see the pre-construction schedule, you're gonna see what I'll call a phase 1. It's a whole group of activities. We have to go through the whole state process, the whole pool process, and do design reviews, all that stuff. And then you'll see phase 2, which to us is the construction, the big construction project that follows. So that's what we'll see.
And at that point, we'll have already been through the planning and zoning process with the town approval, so there won't be a separate review on the town side for this enabling package.
it will all be part of those conversations.
And I think, we'll present at the next committee meeting, a kind of a schematic layout of what work we plan on doing.
Yeah,
I think we want to just review with the working group first, and then we'll present to the committee at the next.
Right.
The next meeting,
Yeah.
so.
I think that makes sense. Everybody have any questions or thoughts around that? Everybody clear on some of those details or anything else from one of your thoughts? No? All right, great. Thank you. We'll move right on to item number 7, which is communications subcommittee report. I don't know if anybody else wants to hop in, but I will start. We had a meeting right before this one. Some of us actually, we went right up to the line. I think we adjourned at 5 or 6:29 or whatever we did. So productive meeting. We spent a lot of time talking about, we got an update on the website update. So there are changes to the website and homepage, so please go out there and take a look. We're trying to keep that as simple as possible and as informative as possible for the community. So, and it will obviously become more robust as we go through the process, but right now it's kind of critical information. What's the timeline? What are we working on? Those kind of things. We spent a lot of time though on the draft content for the first newsletter post referendum. So it will be very similar. I don't know if everybody had an opportunity to see or view the press release that went out announcing our new partners and kind of talk more about roles and responsibilities for the project and post referendum. A lot of focus on that. We spent a lot of time on what images are going to be included, wording and those kind of things. So it was a really good conversation. I think it placed us well for the distribution of that first newsletter, and the goal is before Thanksgiving. So we're trying to stay away from that Thanksgiving to the end of the year timeframe for communication, major communication out to households, because there's a lot that happens during that time frame, and hopefully we can get people before it gets a little bit too crazy. from there. So, and then the only other piece we discussed was an update to the Q&A on the website. So we're gonna spend some time on that, reviewing it independently, and then actually at our next meeting in December, walk through that so we can get that more appropriately aligned post-referendum questions, because right now it really looks still pre-referendum specific, and I think we now are at the point of seeing beyond that, so. Anything else? Anybody else wants to add? Okay. And then we have professional partnership subcommittee report. We're gonna go through some of those details. I unfortunately couldn't make this meeting this week, so if somebody could, I don't know, Johnny, if you wanna give us a quick update on.
I mean, we just spent time going over some of the contract with some of the attorney comments and a representative from ONG. It's not finalized. There was some back and forth, some concerns, and that's going back to the town attorney for, for the attorneys to kind of hash out the few details that are left, but I don't expect it to take that long to finish. We discussed the RFQ for commissioning agent briefly, but just kind of the details of getting that going.
Yep. And we'll go through those in new business as well, so that'll be part of our process, so. Any other thoughts or questions on professional partnership? Okay, we'll move right on to number 9, which is financial report. I don't know, Devin, did you?
Yeah, there was no new expenses throughout the month of October. We did update the invoice tracker sheets as well, just to reflect the invoices from TSKP and CSG.
Again, I'll just remind everybody, remember, it's a little bit complicated. We have 2 projects that we're managing for financials, and then we'll also have expense against our budget for the committee, as well as our separate expenses for the invoicing and the services that goes against the money that came from the referendum. So just keep that in mind. That's why we have multiple spreadsheets and multiple views of the finances, but something to keep your eye on. Any other questions or thoughts around that? Okay. All right, so we'll move right into item G, which is new business. So we've got quite a few items here. So if you remember, or if you noticed, your agenda packet was quite large because there was a lot of documentation in there and stuff to review. So we're going to go right into these items one by one. And the first is new business item 1. So can I get a motion to approve the attached RFQ for commissioning services? Second. So just a quick note on this, the RFQ is reviewed and approved, as Johnny mentioned, by the Professional Partnership Subcommittee in the October 13th meeting. Town attorney is now reviewing. I'm sorry, it's also reviewed and approved the RFQ at this point. So what you see in the agenda packet is what we're looking to approve from this building committee today. And if you remember that commissioning, the commissioning services, if somebody here wanted to just do, again, just a brief overview of what exactly that is. So people remember.
Sure. So commissioning is essentially engineering firm that comes in and they we call commission all of the HVAC systems. They make sure that at the end of the day, after the project is built, all of the units are balanced. And so for those end users that, when they're in their office and they set their thermostat for 65, that's what happens, right? So, and that's not setting the thermostat somebody else's building. It gets much more involved in detail than that. You can see we've got, if we take a quick look at the page 4 of 14, you can see in the commissioning service overview, really the objective is to provide documented confirmation that the facility fulfills the functional and performance requirements of the building owner and operators, and as required by the state of Connecticut statute section 16. Commissioning process will establish and document the owner's criteria for system functions, performance, and maintainability, and to verify and document compliance with these criteria throughout the construction, startup, and initial period of operation. So they're going to get involved early on through the design period. They're going to make sure that what TSKP is working on and designing is making sense. They're gonna follow through instructions and the installation of everything, and then testing and balancing at the end. And so there's a laundry list of specific items that they are expected to manage through the process. We've included what's called enhanced commissioning in here as part of our meetings with Eversource and looking at some incentives, some incentive projects. Part of it is Eversource will pay a percentage of enhanced commissioning to coordinate some of those incentives that we're looking at. So there's lots in here. They'll be expected to provide a final commissioning report. They're going to be expected to do startups in both the heating and cooling season. So depending on when the project ends, we will be in one season or the other. So part of their roles and responsibilities will be to come back and make sure that they're there for both startups. Maybe a little bit more than people need to know.
No, I think it's important as we're starting to bring people on, people understand the purpose and the value that these things bring to the organization. So, or to, excuse me, my work.
I will
Like,
add,
right.
right. I will add that as part of, to ensure that these services are reimbursable, we have to follow the same process, which is the two-part process, just like we did with the architect and the CM. And so there's, we don't have to have an interview process, but we do need to request qualifications, go through them, shortlist them, and then request a few proposals, and then make a selection from there.
So you'll see as we move through, we're gonna do approval of the RFQ to go out, and then we're gonna do the approval of the score sheet. But we will not follow what we've seen before, which is now suddenly we're scheduling interviews with all, that's not part of this process. We'll be evaluating on what we receive back as well as score sheets.
Right. One of the addendums that we that will come out after this is the contract for commissioning agents. And so we're putting that contract together now. That will go out as an addendum. But we wanted this RFQ to go out this week. So the expectation is this will roll out on Friday.
Everything you want to know about commissioning. Any other discussion or questions anybody has about this before we go ahead and vote on the approval? Okay, so the motion on the table is to approve the attached RFQ for commissioning services. All in favor? Opposed? All right, we are unanimously approved. All right, we'll move right on to item number 2, as I mentioned. So could I get a motion to approve the attached score sheet for the commissioning services RFQ?
Second.
Any discussion on this? This aligns, as always, with the RFQ. We pulled out obviously some of the key things that we're looking for in order to do comparison. So it really should make a lot of sense based on our RFQ. As a note, the score sheet was reviewed and approved by the Professional Partnership Subcommittee again at that October 13th meeting.
I do have a question on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
This demonstrates experience of commissioning services for at least 5 projects of similar size and scope. It's a very large building, so we just five of this size building.
You're thinking we're gonna have a hard time with that doing that.
There might be, I don't know, it might be limited to respond. So just so that you're aware of that, it's a very big building, very big project.
Yeah,
We could say for projects of similar size and scope, allow
Or
them to
maybe
share.
for a year, or, you know.
We need to put a number, we just say.
If you don't
I
want
think
somebody
in the
to
past,
test it,
I think we've done just similar projects, like for,
similar size and scope.
yeah, similar size and scope, I think we've done for, like for when we did anything regarding score sheets for you guys, I think. That makes sense to everybody, to just kind of make it a little bit less.
Or maybe the, greater than 100,000 square foot building, or greater than, you know what I'm saying, just maybe that.
I think I'd be okay with, for projects of similar size and scope.
Yes.
Because scope is,
Yeah.
it'll be high school projects.
Yeah.
Essentially that.
You may want to just list the projects that they're that they commissioned.
Yeah.
in the past, that are similar in size and scope.
Yeah, RFQ, I believe, also for experience as well, right? To
Yeah.
share experience
I gotta
projects
be
as well.
careful with that too on our proposal we got to bid, because I'm gonna be asking the same thing, and usually it's 3.
Yeah.
At the end, I'm
Okay.
eliminating certain people.
On page 5 of the RFQ, section 4, submitting a proposal, number 3. Provide evidence your company has performed commissioning services for at least 5 projects of similar size and scope. Complete and include exhibit A.
Yeah, you're right, we did put that.
So,
So we have to make the adjustment to both documents. Does everybody, we'll go back and revote on, obviously, the amendment to the first document that we just approved. But is everybody okay with the change to that wording to just say similar size and scope?
Yep.
Taking out the one, the quantity.
Yeah, either, or you could just eliminate the word size, the scope for commissioning, if you've done the heating, cooling and system for a large building. The fact that this one's larger is just, it's more control points, you know, but it's, I mean, it's the same.
I think we're all saying the same thing.
Let's say if we take out the 5 and if we leave that in there, we're limiting our potential responses. But if we broaden it to the broadest language, are we gonna get too many that is unwieldy? I mean, is it opening?
I don't think there's that many.
What do you guys think?
That are gonna go after something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate that.
That makes sense to everybody?
Yeah.
It's fun, we do with math still, I'm like looking at people's eyes. Nobody's even concerned of it in any way. Okay, so why don't what we do is we will approve this score sheet with the amendment as stated, and then we will go back and approve the amendment to the first time. Am I following that procedure right, Kevin? Okay. And you're telling me you're good at this stuff, right? Am I doing that the right process? All right, excellent. So the motion on the table is to approve the attached score sheet for commissioning services RFQ with the amendment as stated. All right, is that a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, we are unanimously approved for the score sheet approval. So why don't we go back to item number 1? So again, we would be, there would be a motion to approve the attached RFQ for commissioning services with the amendment to, what section is it?
Page 5,
Page
section
5, section 4, submitting a proposal. Item 3. Remove the words at least 5.
You all right, Devin?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, so that is approved as amended. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all for the feedback too. Okay, so we're going to move right on to item number 3 to approve the attached RFQ for professional engineering services. So let's get this motion first, and then I got a little information to share what they during discussion, but can I get that motion?
Second.
All right, so we'll open it up for discussion. So this RFQ is distributed to the professional partners subcommittee at the October 28th meeting. And this RFQ is currently being reviewed by the town attorney, and any modifications from the attorney obviously will be incorporated. Just as a reminder on this, so we talked about the commissioning agent. This is a requirement. It is required by the town of Farmington, chapter 53-4. Obviously, what we follow step by step. It's, if you're in the chart below the yellow arrow, this is part of the process that we're required to do by the town, is to get the services of this independent professional engineering services for review. So just want to make sure everybody's clear that this is something that we are required to do. And that the professional partnership committee took some time to talk about this RFQ and really look into this a little bit more. Is there anything else, Evan, I need to share on that, or is that?
I think that, yeah, no, it's just a requirement through the town.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think, yeah.
We should all be intimately aware of 53-4 at this point, and it is driving, it happens to be section C. We were spending a lot of time before section C pre-referendum, but now we're here. So any other conversation or questions around this discussion? So I know this one's interesting for me. I'm just going to share my feelings on this, that we're bringing another, a person on board for us on this. So I think we just have to talk through this, make sure we really understand how we're engaging with this additional consultant, where in the process, and how they work with us as a team. So I think we'll learn more about that as we walk through the process with the RFQ and bringing somebody on and really negotiating that as we go forward. So I don't want to take this one lightly because I think it's really important we have to do it, but let's make sure it's working for us. And it's a good tool that supplements the work that we're doing. So that's just my thoughts on it. Any other questions or anything else before we vote? All right, so all in favor to approve the attached RFP for professional engineering services? Opposed? All right, unanimously approved. Okay, this is exciting, isn't it? All this stuff. All right, so we'll move right on to item number G4. So can I get a motion to approve the attached score sheet for the professional engineering services RFQ? Motion to approve. Second. Any discussion? Sure. Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
You're all set? Okay. Excellent. All right. So if there's no questions or discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, unanimously approved. So I think we are good with getting what we need to get out for timing. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to read documentation, going through this. We will certainly hear more and more about this as we get responses and kind of take a look at what additional partners we're going to be adding to our team. So, and I think Devin, right, is that Pat should be all set with distribution and everything she needs at this point? Great. Okay, so now we've got some invoices to approve. So this is item G5. So can I get a motion to approve the attached invoice from TSKP Studio in the amount of $292,800?
For the high school.
Right, just a note, these invoices for professional services regarding, again, you gotta remember the two projects, Farmington High School design rendered through October 2021. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. We'll move right on to G6. Can I motion to approve the attached invoice from TSKP Studio in the amount of $12,200? Motion. Invoices for professional services regarding central office locker room design rendered through October 2021. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. Right, we'll move right on to G7. Motion to approve the attached invoice from Construction Solution Groups in the amount of $22,597.
Second.
This invoice is for professional services rendered regarding, again, Farmington High School design rendered through October 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. We'll move right on to G8. Motion to approve the attached invoice from Construction Solution Groups in the amount of $1,030. Motion approved.
Second.
Invoices for professional services regarding, again, central office locker room renovation runs through October 2021. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously. Excellent. So we are down to our last new business item. So could I get a motion to cancel the November 17th, 2021 FHS building committee meeting? Motion to cancel?
Second.
Okay, discussion on this one. Just so everybody knows, we talked a little bit about this too in the communication meeting. We scheduled the communication meeting as well. We usually do those back to back, but since there is so much work in progress for reconciliation and timeline, it's a tough time of year on the 17th. So, you know, as we approach and getting closer to Thanksgiving holiday, we thought it made sense to give us a little breathing room and then reconvene in December to try to really refocus on timeline and cost at that point. So there will still be some additional design meetings as well as probably professional partnership meetings as well in the mix there, but we didn't think it made sense for us to reconvene as a building committee or a committee subcommittee in November. Any thoughts? No? All right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved, so you can update your calendars accordingly. Last item, so could I get a motion to adjourn?
Before we do that, just a quick question, and I'll probably
Oh,
get
yeah.
shot down to this, but is there an appetite or any kind of look at maybe moving the meetings up a little bit? I know, obviously, we want to make sure that the community's with us, but we're not getting the attendance, obviously, that we were getting pre-referendum, that kind of stuff. I know the consultants would appreciate it, obviously, would have to work for the committee members, but would there be an appetite for that or a consideration of even looking at it for the new year, maybe? Moving the meetings up a little bit, half hour to an hour maybe, and how that would work with people's schedules.
So start time at 6, you're thinking?
Yeah, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
What are people think about that?
No communication before this, so that we just drive, it would drive that an hour earlier too.
The communications one.
Okay. We've met every day on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I'm not looking, just,
Yeah, I don't think we need to make a
Food for thought,
decision tonight, like
because I
I
know
said.
we'll be probably putting a meeting schedule out for the new year,
Yes.
so we'll come into our, next meeting, whatever, last two before the new year, just a consideration.
Okay.
We would just have to update, we were talking about that in our
Standard
newsletter. We were
start
actually saying
time.
that, our meetings are starting at 6:30, but just talking about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about, we listed the, in the newsletter, the upcoming meetings, and we're talking about, oh, it's helpful for people to know the general start time, so we just have to think about time around that, what it would mean, but,
Understood.
I don't know, does anybody else have any thoughts, or? I think I'm trying to remember the thought process around 6:30 start to begin with. It was right, community engagement, making sure people had time to get home and then get back out again. Was that our thought process?
And also to have the public, I think it's fine, so they can attend when people come in that time
All right,
for information. I'm
Yeah.
fine with 6 o'clock, I'm strictly.
all right, why don't I just want to make sure with CAP too, that there's not any other issues or concerns, but maybe what we'll do is, you can just even send a quick email poll out to people and just kind of get an idea of their thoughts around that before, we don't need to make a decision tonight, but I think we can put it out on the table and see what people think, as far as, what the impacts are and what that might look like. So,
Okay.
does that work?
No,
John?
that's fine, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other thoughts or questions? No? All right, so I think, did we get a motion? A motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, or second, any other discussion about adjourning? I don't think so. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will adjourn at 7:17.